just further documentation to the Professional Standards Department for the viewers and readers to make up their mind as to what is going on and the fitness of this new body that is comprised of police officers. There used to be an internal affairs department which the police were scared of. Because any wrongdoing reported to that department would be swiftly dealt with, professionally, lawfully. So why was that department taken away for the vast majority of places in England? And why is it that where they are not taken away, there's less crime by police officers? Less crime committed. So why is it that this department, has been put in place in the likes of Liverpool? Tell me that. Is it not inferred that the Internal Affairs Department were doing too good a job and had to be dismantled? Is that it? Why else would they bring in another body to replace the body that was working? And then to make out, does the government, that honest, double standards, amoral and immoral, basically iniquitous, without law, why should they replace this? But the further thing is, why then decry the first department, Internal Affairs? Why decry? Say it's not working when it was working. Why? And then leave it in certain parts of the country still up and running if it's not working. Anyhow, we will leave this to yourselves to decide what is going on. Okay. Pardon me. Right. It's clear enough, straight enough, honest enough, forthright enough. Truth, you see, always seeks the light. Is not afraid, doesn't hide in dark corners, doesn't use obfuscation. It speaks plainly. The problem is with this department, aside for the fact that it doesn't work, I don't believe it was ever intended to work because the first department was working. The problem with this department, amongst other problems, is that it begins an argument. Like all police officers, well, sorry, not all police officers, but the vast majority of police officers that we come in contact with and that you probably come in contact with, start out with an argument. They want an argument. They've got nothing better with them but a spirit of argument. They're bored. They want an argument. They want not only an argument because they're bored, but an argument to show that they are superior beings. There is no such thing as a superior being in society. There's none. And they feed off this stance. They feed off it. That's the problem, you see, with officers that do not go by law, who abandon a law for wherever they want to abandon it. Oh, this doesn't suit me, I'll chuck that to one side, but this does suit me. Okay, those type of officers who want an argument, feed me, feed me. That's what they're doing, feeding. They're spiritually, psychologically feeding off the person who is doing obeisance to them. And of course they get what's known as drunk by the spirit of their own self-importance. It gets more and more deeper and deeper, and they swagger around like drunkards, looking for the next one to feed off. But if you don't say anything to them, which would be the best stance to take, if you're not practiced in what we call apologetics. It's an old-fashioned term for debate. Okay? And the thing about this is that the person that creates the debate should have the beginning, the middle and the end. Should have thought it all the way through to achieve their goal at the end. To presuppose what the other party is going to say and therefore be prepared to answer that. Okay? Now, we'll leave it at that, but further letters, correspondence, communications will be uploaded for others to judge, and not just to judge, but to be informed. Let the likes of the PSD and Miss, was it Chalmers' response to them be educational, in that we are not therefore ignorant, and shouldn't be ignorant, of what is really going on behind the doors that are labelled, for instance, the PSD, the Police Standards Department. Okay? And lastly, and this is another good point. When Miss Chalmers got this letter, okay, not this one, this is the reply. Okay, when she first got her letter from the Police Standards Department, It was because Hackett, D.S. Hackett, was told in uncertain terms to prosecute certain judges. And councillors. Well, council staff, rather. Okay. So, bearing that in mind, Hackett then runs to the PSD. The PSD takes up her case. Now, how perverse is that? Think about it. The PSD, the Police Standards Department, only takes complaints from members of the public. That's inclusive of solicitors, etc. Okay, non-police officers. Alright? To investigate police officers' conduct, okay? So, we have solicitors who may even have a judge. We have members of the public in general can come to the PSD and put a complaint in against an officer. Alright, that's how it stands. That's how it stands. Police officers cannot make a complaint against themselves or against the members of the public through the PSD. But the PSD, Police Standards Department, says they've got communication and letters of communication from the likes of Hackett, D.S. Hackett, Detective Sergeant Hackett, that she has, she wants us to look into. But it's not their job to look into it. It's their job to take complaints from non-police officers about police officers. D.S. Hackett is claiming against herself. How stupid can you get? I mean, she's presenting papers that are evidence against herself. Talk about blindness, and then the PSD abandons his own office as usual. It seems to be the character that it's showing. It's not what we're saying, it's showing it. We're just repeating what they're showing. Okay? And they've broken the rules. They shouldn't be listening to police officers condemning themselves. They should be listening to members of the public. Miss Chalmers did not file a complaint to the PSD because the PSD is a waste of space. They lost the first argument with her when an officer assaulted her and other officers lied. The PSD said, right, can we just have a chat about this? No, we can't have a chat about this. It was put to them very plainly, very clearly. We cannot have a chat about this, about officers. But officers should be prosecuted. You can't have a chat over the breaking of the law by officers. Because if you did that, then why isn't it that you are not having a chat with members of the public, but that you're taking them to court to prosecute them? But you can have a chat over the breaking of the law by officers. No, you can't have a chat. We're not going to sit around talking over tea and biscuits. Now prosecute them. And they wouldn't. They wouldn't do it. Police officers wouldn't do it. They lost. They lost the argument from the beginning, and they've lost this one from the beginning. This is how unprofessional, uneducated, unlawful this department is showing itself. We don't have to declare it, except in the fact that they are declaring it in the first place. It's no good, you see. Members of the public will just turn around and say about something and give their opinion. And then it's a great big argument backwards and forwards. However, the proper stance is to let the other party declare its hand. And then you can say, right, you've declared your hand, this is your hand that you've declared. So then it comes back on them. They're evidencing their own criminal activity. And this is the same here. Well, all we're doing is reminding them, repeating it, voicing it. And this is all that Chalmers and her assistant is doing. Just let them. Just let them carry on. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, in the end of the day, character is character. You are what you are and I am what I am. And we live out in our lives what we are. And this body is the same. Any particular body in society has its own character. And this is showing that it's a character that is unlawful. It does not hold the law. Yet it is supposed to hold the law because it is a department of police officers, for starters. How can you have a police officer and not have law with the police officer? Goes against nature. But this department full of police officers goes against the law, that isn't interested in the law. But they're police officers. It's their job to be interested in the law, more than interested in the law, going further in the prosecution of those who break the law. But they're breaking the law themselves, therefore they're out of sight of the law. There is a word which used to be used for those who are completely outside of the law. It's called iniquity. An iniquitous person is a person who lives without any moral, legal, social, natural law. The only law of which is in grammar for these boys, and that's not a part of the law that forms iniquity, because iniquity, the other expression is integrity. If you lack integrity to the uttermost, you are iniquitous. You're a loose cannon. You'll do anything, say anything, think anything. You're devious and demonic. You'll seek to win an argument at any cost. If it means lying against the law, well, lying is against the law. Lying, cheating, deceiving, obfuscation, muddying the waters is obfuscation. So that people are looking that way and this way and over there and over there and over everywhere. Not actually dealing with the thing straight on. And they forever, like these boys, have this stance, that illegal and unlawful stance, that the person, here Chalmers, is in the wrong. You see, they turn the whole thing round, just like the police, the bent police that is. Not all officers are bent. And those that are not bent are sick to death from the back-picking teeth of these officers who just go about, criminal officers, abusing members of the public. There's some decent officers out there who have joined the police force to serve the public, to honourably serve the public. But there was that side that have come in and think, oh right, I've got the authority now, I've got my badge, that's it, people are going to respect me. Bully boys. Let us learn how to reply to these people, or we must keep quiet.